Hello, and thank you for taking the time to view this video. My name is David Dupree from Software House and one of the developers of Secure Go, and I'll be demonstrating Secure Go for you today. I hope you like what you see. What is Secure Go? It is a mobile application designed to communicate with Secure 9000 server and execute commands on the supported hardware such as activate an output or unlock a door and much more. Secure Go will be available on devices that support iOS 7.1, which are iPhones 4 and 5, and iPad 2, iPad Air, and iPad Mini. Also, devices that support Android 4.3, which include both phone and tablet. A complete list will be forthcoming. Also, both versions will be available for download on their respective stores. For iOS, it's the App Store. For Android, it's Google Play. When designing Secure Go, we had three specific users in mind and the tasks they perform. They are the integrator, the hardware installer, personnel record administrator, and the operator. Integrators and installers are responsible to assure that the hardware they're installed is working properly. Today it requires two individuals to perform this task. One sitting in front of the monitoring station and another out in the facility where the hardware, for example a door, is located, both communicating over walkie-talkies. Using Secure Go, it would require one individual using the monitor functionality to troubleshoot and resolve the problem at the hardware location. Secondly, the personnel record administration using Secure Go can perform many of the same tasks that are done using the administration station today, such as adding a new person, capturing a portrait, marking a card as lost, change clearances, and terminating a person. And finally, the operator is responsible for monitoring and administering the Secure 9000 system. Using Secure Go, they can perform the tasks from the mobile device such as witness event activity and not be restricted from sitting in front of the PC running the admin station. Secure Go consists of two pieces of software integrated in the Secure 9000 landscape. The first is the Secure Go mobile application. The second is the web service that is installed and configured on the same network as the Secure 9000 server, or can be on the same machine as the Secure 9000. The web service works intimately with IIS, much in the same way our previous web services have worked. The Secure Go mobile app communicates the domain credentials entered into the mobile app to the web service. The web service then opens a connection with Secure at the behest of this user operator, much in the same way the FAT clients work today. The web service is also part of the install at no additional cost. However, each connected mobile app user consumes one licensed client connection. Another interesting note, the communication to and from the web service can occur over Wi-Fi or through a VPN. Once the user has successfully logged in, they will be presented with the following applications. Journals is where we list and search for items in the journal and audit logs. Monitoring is where we watch active events in the system, either all of them or a focused subset. Personnel is where we search, edit personnel records in the system. Site Explorer is where we search, monitor, edit items in the system such as query, event, manual action, operator, iStar cluster, controller door, and many others. Preferences is where we set application-specific settings. We've talked a lot today about our application, but it's now time to show you what it can do. What we're going to do is give you an application overview about login, preference, and journal. We're going to give you the integrated use case such as monitoring a door. We're going to show you personnel and how we can update a personnel record, and an operator use case where we can monitor system events. We are now going to look at Secure Go, the login screen, preference, and journal. To start the application, we simply tap on the icon. It tells us that it's loading it in, and we'll wait till we see our login screen. We are presented with the screen. As we talked about earlier, we have to know which machine we're going to, which credentials we're going to use, and the password we're going to use. Anytime you'll see this gear in the application, you have the ability to log out, go to preferences. So we're going to go ahead and do that now and look at preferences. Comes up, click on preferences, and what we save here is information relevant to our use of this application. What we like to do here is save the server name, so each time after a successful login, we'll save it. So when I launch the app the next time, you'll have the last server that I was connected to. Same for username. I don't want to keep typing my username again and again. The next one is encrypt connection. If I have a certificate and I need to verify that which server I'm talking to, I want to encrypt the connection. More about that in the user documentation. The next is inactivity interval, and we measure this in minutes. Most desktop or applications like this today are used for just a brief period of time, and then we put the application down again. So, as we talked about earlier, we make the connection into the server. We're consuming a licensed client. So what we're doing here is, hey, if I don't see the application, any activity in the application for, in this case, it's 10 minutes, the application will automatically log me out, and thus freeing up that client connection. The next setting here is page size. Page size has to do with getting information from the server and displaying it on the device. If you could imagine you have a system that has over 150,000 personnel and you say, go get me all the personnel, you would absolutely crush this device and you would render it useless for about 10 minutes. In this case, we say, okay, go get me all the personnel, but I only want to see the first 20. And then each subsequent time that I ask for more information, you'll show me in a page size of 20. And this is also changeable. The next is monitoring. That is, when we want to take a look at a particular item in the system, and we're going to sit there and poll it and say, okay, send me information, send me information, send me information. In this case, it's in seconds, and we have it set to 4. Also for monitoring, we're going to see activity changes for this particular object. And what the message list size says, we're going to keep 100 of these messages. And this is also adjustable. So the settings I have here is what I'm going to run with today. So I just said save. I didn't change anything, but that's fine. So we're going to go and take a look here at what this is. It brings up a list of servers that I successfully connected to. So it saves me from next time remembering where do I have to type in, what is that IP address. Same thing for username. If I have to go to multiple sites, I'll have a different login at each site. This will remember it. So that's about it. And for the first login screen, I'm going to go ahead and log into our server. We see there we're contacting our server, and we are now into Secure Go. We are logged into the Secure 9000 server, and we can begin to do our work. Take a look around at the screen. It says it knows who I am, and what this little icon is here is a different way of viewing the information. I choose one, it shows me in an icon view. I choose the other, it shows me in more of a table or list view that is familiar for the device. So the default, it will remember your settings, so next time you come use it, it will remember the way you like it. So we're going to go ahead here and take a look at journals. We'll go here to audit log, and we're going to take a look here. What we said earlier in preferences, I want you to send me all the information in this item, but only send me, in this case, 20 of them at a time. I can scroll up here. I can see that these are the information. When I get to the end, we can see we can't go any further, but if I pull hard enough, it'll know that I want the rest, and it'll subsequently load in the pages. I can come up here to the page list. If I click on number 2, it will just load page number 2. If I click on page number 3, it will load just page number 3. We have other things to do with the view here. We can filter, and that's what this icon is for. I click on that. I can reset the filter, so it will send me all the objects. I can look for objects created, objects deleted, or objects modified. And I'll go ahead and click on objects modified, and it gives me a list of all the objects in the system that have been modified. We can go back here, and I'll reset the filter. It should bring me all of the events in all the objects in the system. Here too, I have the ability to do a targeted search. I can look at what kind of edit operations, and it brings up the choice list here. I want to look for object changed, and that suffices. I'm done. I can go ahead here and save it, and it gives me a list of all the objects that were changed. Go back now to Journal, and in this case, our page list is much greater here, and I keep going on and on. As you can see, there's a lot of information, but we're just looking at 20 items at a time. That's it for journals and lists. And going back out to the application, I go back here. We talked about the gear a little bit earlier, and now we have a few more things to look at here. We have the home button, what means I'm deep into the application, but I want to come back into the general application screen. I have the logout button, which says, hey, I'm done right now. Anywhere in the app, I can get out. I can bring up my preferences, or I have the About box will give me information about what is Secure Go, the build number that I'm using, and the active server that I'm talking to. So I'm all done for now. Till the next demonstration. We're now going to give you the integrator use case where we're going to monitor one door in the system. We're greeted by the application screen. We're going to go ahead and click into Site Explorer, and we're going to go to the door. We are interested in Schlage door number 1. Click on that, and it'll give me all the information about the door. We can see down the bottom here we have the properties. That's all the information related to the door. We have hardware items that are all part of this door, from the cluster, the controller, and other information about it. And we have triggers. This door does not have any triggers associated with it. Going back to the Properties tab, and we come up here and we hit the monitor. The monitor says we want to watch all events for this door and see nothing but this. Come up to here, we're going to go take a look at preferences we talked about earlier. We're going to set our polling interval. In this case, we're going to put it down to 3 seconds. Go ahead and save that. We're done, save, and then we're going to hit our monitor, and we get all the information here in the Objects tab. And when we see changes, their icons to the left here will change. But we're most curious about the Activities tab. So as an integrator, I'm going to walk up to the door. I want to take my card. I'm going to get here. I should get an invalid read, and I get a rejected card, and that is correct. I now have a card, and I'll get a good read, and it should show me that it found it, it opened the door, and we got a good read. Now I'm going to go to the lock itself, and I'm going to hold it open, and it says the door is forced. I'm going to put it back, and it says it's now locked. And the back side of these locks is a button, and I'm going to go ahead and push on that. I'm holding it closed right now. And we got here the push button on, and then I'm going to go ahead and release it, and now we know that it's off. Fortunately with this, I have a PIM that's nearby, and I can go ahead. Presently it's in tamper. I hold it down, and we can see here that the tamper has gone away. I'm going to go ahead there and release it, and we should get the fact that it's in tamper mode. We have a problem with that. So I looked at one door. I got all the information. Now I'm going to move on to my next door in the system that I want to have a look at. That concludes the integrator use case. I'm all done here, and I'm going to simply log out. The next demo we have today is the personnel use case, or we're going to go and look at all things you can do with personnel using Secure Go. So as you can see, we now are using the iPad to do this. It's exactly the same for a phone as an iPad, except you have more real estate in which to view things. I'm going to go ahead here and log in, and I'm going to go take a look at personnel, and these are the four options that you can do with personnel. The first is show selected. It's more or less how you want to do a targeted search of personnel. You have many personnel records in the system, but I only want to look at a few. For example, I can come up, hit disabled here, and I want to know what records have been disabled. I just go ahead here, do the search, and it shows me that I have these two records here that have been disabled. I want to go back now. Maybe I want to look at other information. Say maybe I want to know the first name of David. And we'll put that down. We don't care about disabled now. As you can see here, the check mark denotes what field that we're going to search on. And we're going to go ahead and search of all of our personnel have the first name of David. There you go. So that's more or less looking at the ability to search personnel. The next one is check card. Check card was used to do Android because Android has the ability to use NFC. Unfortunately, NFC is not enabled on an iOS device, but we're more or less support it. So you simply come here, it says what is your card number, because with NFC on an Android device you just have to put the card next to the device and it will find the number for you. I'm going to go ahead here and put in a known one. And we're going to go ahead and find it in the system. It found it, and it has information for this one particular person. We have their properties, all their information here, such as location. We have the second tab is their credentials. They have this one right here, and sure enough is the one we searched on. And we have all the clearance associated with this person. So we'll go back out now. To add new, it's simply going through and adding all the information to a brand new person in the system. I choose not to do this because there's a lot of information there and you essentially get the idea of what we're trying to do. So right now we're going to go to the top one. It says show me all the personnel in the system. We're going to go ahead here. It's the same as before. We saw that we have our pages. We have 20 at a time and we can scroll through and see them as needed. We have here is our filter. I'll go ahead and click on that and we can see here we want to show disabled. Well, we did that just recently and it brought up two items. Sure enough, there they are. Go back to the filter. I can reset the filter, which should give me all the persons in the system, and which it does. So that's a little bit about filter. And same thing, we saw the search, same as we saw before. This time it's located at the top of the screen. So now we're going to go back here. We're going to choose this person here. And what can we do with this person? Talked about earlier, we have properties, credentials, and clearances, and we can come here, we can get a list of things we can do with this person. We can refresh, means we're going to go back to the server to get it. We can edit this object, we can monitor, we can set the PIN, add credential, and we can get a primary portrait. We can use the device to grab an image, or we can select an image that's already been saved on the device. We can add, remove their clearances, look at their previous store, their documents, so on and so forth. So right now we're going to go ahead here and add a credential. We can see here that there's the information. It's not disabled, card number. Go ahead here, type in 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. And I go ahead and hit the next. It knows the next field to go to. It puts it up here in the keyboard toolbar. And I'll go ahead and hit facility code, go next, and it's going to bring me an issue code, go next. And the keyboard changes. It gives me a pick list. It says what is the activation date. We're going to choose right now. We're going to go to the next field, and as the expiration date, we can see here that it's a year from now. I'm fine with that. We go to the next. We know it's card only. There's another pick. So more or less, for the sake of convenience, we are done now. We go ahead and hit save. Go take a look, and we should see here our brand new created credential associated with this person, and we have their clearances. I can go ahead here and I want to add and remove clearances. Brings me up a list. It shows me that this person already has all Schlage doors. I'll go ahead here and click. I'm going to add clearance 1 to them. Go ahead, hit save, and we can see here that they just got their next clearance. So that is manipulating personnel with Secure Go. Our next demo is the operator use case where we're going to monitor system events. So we're going to begin by logging in, going to Site Explorer, and going to Events. We have a list of events here, and I'm going to go ahead and pick events that I want to monitor. Come to the first one, it's EV1, and I want to scroll up. I want to keep getting all of these by simply clicking on them. And now I want to begin monitoring them. We can see here now that these events are actively being changed, and we're getting status change. We can see here the objects that their icons will change. And I'm going to go to the Activities tab, and we can see them changing on our polling interval. And when we're done, we simply hit the back button, the monitor stops, and we can see the ones that we have selected. Selection can be had by coming to this dialog here. We can choose what we want to see or remove them or come back to the view and change them like this. That concludes the operator use case. We're all done. The future of Secure Go, or what we'd like to do in our next release, is include video, both live and recorded. Another request that has been made is to push notification. That is, an event happens in the system or something in the system happens, and we would like to get notified on our device of this event. So, in conclusion, I hope you thought this time was well spent looking at the Secure Go, and we look forward to your comments. Thank you.